President Tinubu appoints chief executives into 4 federal government parastatals, renominates for board of Northwest Development Commission. Technology for development takes center stage at the 2024 Economic Review session.
We try as much as possible to make sure we drive the economy of this nation with gas.
Also on the news, First Lady meets traditional rulers in Imo State, urges youth to expand frontiers for development.
Got to Brazil, a big company signed in an MOU with his own money, $2.5 billion.
This is NTA Network News. I am Lami Ali. Adiola Kome-Akiri will lead us in Lagos, and Benny is with me in the studios for Business News. We are live streaming on nta.ng/live, and you can follow us on other platforms of the NTA displayed on your screen for updates. Now, the federal government has restated commitments to improving the economy of the nation by deploying technology. This was the focus at the 2024 Economic Review meeting under the office of the Vice President held at the Presidential Villa. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
Achieving faster economic growth in the year 2025 and beyond is the theme of this one-day technical workshop for the 2024 Economic Review organized by the Office of the Vice President.
This is of the last 12 months, so we can hit the ground running for an even faster growth agenda in the year 2025. The workshop promises to be short and a pragmatic synopsis of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's bold and impactful strides under the canopy of the Renewed Hope agenda, and the diversity of the panel discussions from FDI drive to job creation and delivery of governance.
The workshop, which focused on defying low growth and prospects prediction, tapping into Nigeria's many advantages, brought together stakeholders to address the issues.
I would love to work with you more in the future to see how we, as a Ministry of Art, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy, is going to have a huge impact into building on this economic structure that we have.
We are trying as much as possible to make sure we drive the economy of this nation with gas, because we have it in abundance. We've been talking about 208 trillion cubic feet of gas. And of course today, if Nigeria take advantage of this true decade of gas, we will grow our economy to a level that will be envied.
2024 has indeed been a year of decisive actions and reforms. Many of them have come with pains. Let 2025 be the year that we consolidate these efforts and begin to witness their transformative impact.
The panel discussants talked on achieving intersectoral and public-private business synergy for enhanced growth.
Reforms are never easy. It's like the process of planting and then waiting to reap. And you're not just waiting. When you plant, you have to water, you have to weed, you have to do a few things before you get to the point of reaping the rewards.
Total updates for 2024 and projections for 2025, gains, achievements, and opportunities for businesses, as well as achieving rapid GDP growth, are some of the focused areas for national prosperity. From the State House, Rahman Jibrila, NTA News.
The goodwill that Nigeria currently enjoys in the global community comes with opportunities that youth in the country must recognize to tap into in order to expand the frontiers of personal and national development. This is the message that Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu took to Imo State as she embarks on a 2-day visit. State House correspondent Adeni Utaiwu reports.
Welcomed into Imo State by the Governor Hope Uzodinma and his wife, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu opened a 2-day visit with a courtesy call on the Eze-Imo of the state, His Royal Majesty Dr. Emmanuel Okeke, where she expressed her gratitude to the people of the state for their support during the 2023 presidential election. The best of Igbo cultural reception was waiting for her at an expanded meeting with traditional rulers in the state. There, she extended further gratitude, this time with a healthy dose of optimism about the future of Nigeria.
MOUs were signed. We got to Brazil. A big company signed in an MOU with his own money, $2.5 billion. Signed it under 2 days to bring the investment on cattle rearing. There will be food. There will definitely be food.
As the new bride of the global community, Nigeria, the First Lady notes, is attracting a lot of interest and foreign investment, which can expand the frontiers of development in the country.
When investment is brought in, our children have to be there to take over all this investment, to work it.
Not unaware of the challenges facing the government that you people are sitting on. It's our desire and hope and prayer to continue to partner with you, to support you, to do more.
While applauding the visit on behalf of traditional rulers in the state, the Ezeimo notes that President Bola Tinubu, through his reforms, is steering the nation in the right direction.
You are a great advocate on education for all education.
The First Lady later attended a luncheon organized in her honor at the Imo State Government House. From Owerri, Adeni Itaiwo.
Now, heads of the various international election observation missions to the Ghana 2024 presidential election rose from a meeting to express satisfaction with the level of preparations for the exercise. Kelvin Iwunwaye reports that former President of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, who is in Accra as leader of the West African Elders Forum, also attended the meeting.
COAS, AU, Commonwealth, EU and several other international bodies have sent a sizable number of observers to monitor the Ghanaian presidential election. Even though they are working independently, the meeting of the heads of mission was essentially to compare notes and approach their mandates with a common objective, not to interfere with the process, but help Ghana conduct a peaceful and acceptable election.
To its tradition, Ghana, I'm sure, is going to show us the way that democratic elections are possible, and that we can expect free and fair elections.
This is the key item that we are looking for by all this observation that we are doing to ensure that we have a free, fair, and credible election in Ghana.
As issues were raised regarding the management of the elections, regarding security, especially with reference to the previous elections. And we took up the issues with the Inspector General of Police and his team, the security issues, the ones relating to the Electoral Commission. We took up the issues with the chairperson, the lady, with her team, and they gave reasonable explanations. And some of those lapses they have worked on. So we believe that the election coming up tomorrow will be successful.
Each of the observation mission is expected to prepare a comprehensive report at the end of the exercise. In Accra, Kelvin Iwunwaye, NTA News.
Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule has directed relevant agencies to immediately ascertain the extent of damage and number of traders affected at the Lafia Modern Market in Furno for government support. The governor gave the directive when he visited the market to assess the level of damage caused by the fire. Aliu Tijani reports.
It was late night of Thursday when alarm was raised of inferno at the tailoring and material section of Lafia Modern Market, and the quick intervention of respondents and fire service contained escalation of the disaster. Although few shops were razed, with goods destroyed as affected traders appealed for support. While on sympathy visit to the market, few hours after the disaster, Governor Abdullahi Sule promises to support the affected traders.
Government will do whatever it is that they can do to support the people, because this is a very difficult moment already economically, and when people again are affected with this kind of incident, it goes to add to their economic hardship. So it's the responsibility of the government to come in and assist them. And I have just asked that the list of all those affected should be submitted to the government immediately.
This is not the first time a section of the Lafia Modern Market is raised by fire, but the recent disaster raises question on whether there are precautionary measures in the market in Lafia. Aliu Tijani, NTA News.
Nigeria's quest to fast-track transition from petrol to compressed natural gas, CNG, would be impacted by a trade exchange and value initiative with the Mianyang Technology Development Zone of China. This optimism was expressed when the Senate Committee on Trade and Investment hosted a delegation from Mianyang of Sichuan, China. Here is the report. The engagement is a follow-up of the Forum of China-Africa Cooperation, part of which seeks enhanced collaboration in industrialization, energy transition, food security and infrastructure development.
Mianyang's reputation as a hub of technological innovation and industry growth aligns seamlessly with Nigerians' aspiration for sustainable development and economic diversification. Together, we can unlock immense potential for our economic and people, laying the groundwork for a prosperous future.
They're actually here to set up a few conversion workshops, one being in Oshobo, which is under the Commercial Vehicles Conversion Incentive Program of the Presidential CNG Initiative.
The director, Mianyang Bureau of Commerce, Mrs. Chen, who spoke through an interpreter, expressed commitments to implementation of important agreements reached between leaders of Nigeria and China, adding that the Mianyang Economic Zone also has plans for nuclear medicine, low-altitude manufacturing and artificial intelligence. Other members of the Senate Committee were excited about the partnership and urged the Chinese delegation to do more on technology transfer.
With the establishment of more technology hubs like yours in Nigeria, we will be able to have a situation whereby upon the completion of certain projects, an absolute transfer of skill and technology will happen.
You partner with us in commercializing the value research we have that can help us locally so that we'll be able to achieve a good output, particularly agriculture.
A pilot project, Mianyang Oshun Trade Investment and Value Exchange Initiative, is set for takeoff from the national. Now, President Bola Tinubu has announced the appointment of chief executive officers for the National Universities Commission, the Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council, and the Solid Minerals Development Fund, Presidential Artisanal Gold Mining Initiative, as well as the new Partnership for Africa Development, NEPAD. Professor Abdullahi Yusuf Ribadu, a visiting professor at the National Universities Commission, is now to serve as the organization's executive secretary. Professor Salihu Shehu is now the executive secretary of the Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council, and the president appoints Jabiru Salisu Abdullahi Tauri as the national coordinator of the new Partnership for Africa Development, NEPAD. While the president has also approved the renewal of appointments of Fatima Umar Shinkafi as executive secretary of Solid Minerals Development Fund, Presidential Artisanal Gold Mining Initiative. Bayo Ononuga, the special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, says the President believes the appointee's experience and track record will bring a new sense of commitment, progress and positive outcomes to fulfill Nigeria's expectations in their respective organizations. You're watching News at 9 on the Nigerian Television Authority. Time now to bring you some messages. And coming up next is Business News with Benny.
Thank you, Lami. Now, Nigeria stands at a crossroad, grappling with rising inflation, infrastructure deficits, and security challenges, among others. These realities, the Central Bank of Nigeria's Governor Olayemi Cardoso says, is enough reason to urgently innovate, focus, and take decisive action by key players in the banking sector. This was at the flag-off of 2024 Annual Bankers Retreat in Abuja.
While progress has been steady, it is evident that the road ahead remains long. The work before us requires focus, innovation, and unwavering resolve to reshape our collective future.
The banking sector is perhaps the most critical ally to the government regarding the pursuit and achievement of the $1 trillion economy. And Mr. President has maintained that we shall give goal a good shot. We are not reneging or backtracking from this laudable objective, which may be able to raise our per capita GDP to over $4,000 from the current levels of barely $1,000.
To come up with far-reaching decisions towards addressing skills gap and foster an ecosystem that supports innovation. Now, meanwhile, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group says the Nigerian economy is on a growth trajectory despite challenges militating against growth. The Chief Executive Officer of NESG, Dr. Tayo Aduloju, says the NESG is in full support of the ongoing tax reforms at the National Assembly and urges the National Assembly not to suspend the bills but allow for full legislative process that also accommodates all views.
Behind it. Are they perfect? No. But we are not imposing the bill on Nigeria. No, we are saying these are proposals. Now, lawmakers, let's engage as comprehensively as possible. Because it's the lawmakers that will now edit. The final drafting committee comes from the committee. If they don't like a clause, it's them that will adjust it based on memoranda. What will those adjustments be? And why? But if the lawmakers give us tax bills after this process that does not protect the citizens that are working poor, that does not expand the tax net, that does not increase taxation, tax revenues, that does not create transparency, that does not reduce the complexity of the tax system, we'll say so also, that they've given us a bill that has failed. But they must do their work. That's where the work now is.
So if we've achieved a stable state, there's stability in on the fiscal side, there's stability in the monetary side, then we can now jump to the next big thing, which is job and productivity. Job and productivity, what will it do? It's massive. It will help you to boost your exports. And once you boost exports, you have more inflows, right? So this is the trajectory that most of these Asian tigers, check China, for instance, check Indonesia, for instance. This is the same path they followed. So I also think we're on the right path because we've started with the policy reforms, so in the medium term, now to medium term, we can now start talking about how to create jobs, how to create productive jobs, how to boost our exports, how to get more FX coming in.
And from there, we'll take a look at the capital market. At the close of Friday's trading, the Nigerian equities market ended the trading week bullish, recouping some of the losses posted in previous sessions due to renewed investors' interest in banking stocks. And let's take a look at the numbers. Much more impressive for now is the number of volume of shares that traded in the market today. From 722.9 million yesterday, we crossed the 1 billion benchmark to 1.40 number of shares traded in the market. And look at the value, we jumped from 12.8 billion to 17.4 billion. If you ask me, I'll tell you this is impressive. For the market capitalization, yes, we are still around 59.5 trillion, getting closer to the 6 trillion mark. And looking at the number of deals from 8,495, we dropped down a little bit to 7,220. Well, looking at the percentage, talking about the all-share index, we're at 0.10, down from, or up from 0.06% yesterday. And looking at the numbers, market breadth closed positively with 27 gainers against 19 losers, and 74 equities actually remained unchanged. Looking at the top trades, Wema Bank is at the top spot, followed by Fidelity Bank, then FCMB. The banking stocks are actually doing well. Yesterday, it was all about the industry stocks, but today is the banking sector. Well, this is it on business. Lami, you can take it from here.
Thank you so much, Benny. Now we go to Jigawa, where the Governor Umar Namadi has presented before the State House of Assembly the sum of 689.3 billion naira budget proposal for the 2025 fiscal year, tagged Budget of Innovation and Transformation for Greater Jigawa. The governor says the appropriation bill is expected to sustain the tempo along development trajectory charted by his administration. Muhammad Musa Askira brings us the details.
3 billion naira is 82% higher than the 383.55 billion naira for the 2024 fiscal year. Out of these, 149.75 billion, representing 21.4%, is set aside for recurrent expenditure, while 536.75 billion naira, representing 77% of the total proposed budget, goes for critical expenditure. Drive based on the consolidated revenue and expenditure estimates from the 2025 to 2027 medium-term expenditure framework designed by his government, the budget, Governor Umar Namadi says, will be financed through the statutory allocation from the federal accounts and other federal transfers, including forest equalization exchange gain, sharing of solid and non-solid mineral revenue, receipts, and signature bonus.
Whether a governor or as a legislator, a local government chairperson, or a councillor, we all have our respective duties and obligation to make things work for the better of the present and future generation. And we will be asked to account for our deeds.
A economic problem being experienced worldwide deserves a radical approach to make our people more productive.
Agriculture takes 136 billion naira to sustain the current tempo in the drive to attain food security goal, while critical infrastructure goes with 148.1 billion naira, as education gets 120 billion and health 40.1 billion naira. From Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
The imperatives of improving government revenue and the role of stakeholders towards achieving said goals dominated conversations as a non-governmental agency, Government to Citizens, collaborates with the Federal Inland Revenue Service Taxpayers Service Departments to ensure that taxpayers' funds are effectively utilized. Bosede Abel Amasu reports.
Policymakers, financial experts, and key stakeholders convene here to tackle critical challenge in national development, improving government revenue.
The 96-bed hostel is a state-of-the-art
the Government to Citizens interface in partnership with the Federal Inland Revenue Services Taxpayers Service Department, focuses on innovative strategies to boost revenue generation and elevate the quality of public services.
So we are going into that place where we recognize that the people must be on the platform with the government and develop this nation. G2C is the bridge between government and our citizens.
Participants engaged in robust discussions on challenges like tax evasion, insufficient public awareness, and the need for technology-driven tax systems.
Let more people pay their taxes. It's your civic responsibility.
As the session draws to a close, one message resonates clearly. Improving government revenue is a shared responsibility. Through collaboration, innovation, and trust, stakeholders can create a more prosperous and equitable society for all Nigerians. In Abuja, Bosede Abel Amosu, NTA News.
A 96-bed hostel constructed by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and Shell joint venture as the Nigeria Maritime University Okerinkoko, Warri South-West local government area of Delta State has been inaugurated. Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborevori, whose message was presented at the event, said the edifice will go a long way in solving accommodation issues in the institution. Marian Vincent Oko has details.
The 96-bed hostel is a state-of-the-art two-floor hostel with a generator house, courtyard, visitors' room, and playhouse. Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborevori, in a message, said the facilities constructed by the NNPCL and Shell joint venture will address accommodation problems within the institution. While commending the Nigerian Maritime University management and project team for ensuring quality delivery, the governor urged the donors to continue to assist the school and charged the students to maintain the facilities. Vice Chancellor Maritime University Okerikoko, Professor Adigio Monakruga, stated that the institution had grappled with a challenge of quality accommodation to meet the growing population. He applauded NNPCL and Shell joint venture for embarking on the landmark project.
That we occupy those places, they will be super happy. When you are going through it, you see that the standard is very high. Contained rooms where you have toilet, you have kitchen and all the rest. The students will be excited.
General Manager Corporate Relations SPDC Welly Igo reiterated the company's willingness to continue working harmoniously with the institution towards making the nation's educational institution globally competitive. Representative of NNPCL Edith Lawson said the edifice is a testament of improved living standard and quality of education in Nigeria, which aligns with their corporate social responsibility. Peter Wilson is the chairman, Kurute Community. He appreciated NNPCL and Shell for the project and called for more partnership.
We Kurute people, we Brahmato people, the Ekrenko people, we love what you are saying and want our students to be comfortable and happy. So the community is open for everyone to come in to invest, to develop when it comes to Ulster, and this is one of it.
The ceremony climaxed with the inauguration of the edifice. Marian Vincent Oko, NTA News.
Restoration of complete civil authority and means of livelihood, especially in communities severely affected by violent extremism and other forms of terrorism, is a task that must be accomplished at all costs. Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluwede, reiterated this during his maiden visit to the Joint Task Force in Northeast Operation Hadenkai. Abubakar Musa reports.
The maiden visit by Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluwede, to the Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadenkai is to have direct interaction with high-ranking officers and troops in the front line, identify present challenges, as well as reawaken their spirit of doggedness towards dealing with lingering security threats. After inspecting a guard of honor, the Chief of Army Staff went into a closed-door meeting with soldiers, which lasted for hours. Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluwede was also at the Palace of the Shehu of Borno, where he explained that the pockets of insurgency attacks and other acts of criminality being experienced in northern Nigeria are not beyond containment, and therefore solicited support of the traditional institution in achieving the task of restoring total peace and civil authority to Borno and other parts of Nigeria.
It's important for me to beg you as our father to help us galvanize our people to support us so that we can end this insurgency.
Shehu of Borno, Abubakar Ibn Umar Garba El-Kanemi, said the Chief of Army Staff's visit to the Northeast region underscores the military's continuous sacrifice of defending the territorial integrity of the country and reaffirmed commitment to provide all the necessary support.
May the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you, guide you, and bless you.
In Maiduguri, Abubakar Musa, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu has forwarded a modified list of members of the inaugural governing board of the Northwest Development Commission to the Senate for confirmation, as he nominates Emeka Atuma as chairman of the Southeast Development Commission, SEDC. President Tinubu had in September nominated Ambassador Haruna Ginsau as chairman of the NWDC board, while naming Senator Tijani Hayak Aura and Abdul Qadir Usman as members. In a statement, the president replaced them with Jafar Abubakar Sadiq and Yahya Aminu Abdul Hadi, while the new chairman is Alhaji Dawul Samail Abdullahi, as contained in a new list released. Professor Abdullahi Shehu Umaji retains his position as managing director and chief executive officer. After receiving the president's first list of nominations, the Senate adjusted the NWDC's Establishment Act to accommodate members from other geopolitical zones. President Tinubu complied with the adjustments in the new list by approving six other names to represent the geopolitical zones. President Tinubu has equally appointed Emeka Atuma as chairman and Mark Okoye as the managing director, chief executive officer of the Southeast Development Commission, SEDC, subject to their confirmation by the Senate. President Tinubu reiterates his commitment to regional development and expects the appointees to utilize their wealth of experience and expertise to actually
stakeholders. Let's Wonder, a non-governmental organization, Center for Patriotism and Values Reorientation, brought together dignitaries and top government officials for the Grand Service Star Award to recognize their contributions to national development. Former Governor of Niger State, Muazu Babangida Aliyu, noted that it's important to groom leaders who are accountable, accessible, and responsible in order to have good governance.
We as Nigerians must try as much as possible to inculcate patriotism, love for the country.
This association is what they do is to bring development and to achieve any development in our dear nation.
But today you can see the program is trying to see how we celebrate the improve and the progress we've made so far, and that is why we all this gathering to appreciate the little we could be able to achieve all together as a nation.
At the end of the event, awards were presented to key stakeholders, including the Director General of NTA, Abdulhamid Dembos, who was represented by the GM NTA Channel 5, Paul Ate, for his contributions towards the growth of the country through balanced and timely reportage. In Abuja, Francis Kabile, NTA News.
Chinese National Radio and Television Administration has described the Nigerian Television Authority as a leading broadcast industry in Africa, leveraging on contemporary technologies for programs, contents and news reportage. This was when the delegation of the Research Center of China's National Radio and Television paid a visit on the NTA management. Yusuf Jika has details.
The two prominent broadcast giants on the Asian and African continents are meeting at a close range to deepen collaboration in areas of technology transfer, content creation and professional knowledge. Deputy Director Research Center, China's National Radio and Television Administration, Shi Ji, underscored the role of NTA in broadcast ecosystem and sought for a more robust partnership.
We notice actually there is a great room for improvement, and also NTA is also taking the leading role in this kind of advancing the technology side.
Director General of NTA, represented by the Executive Director News, Ayo Adewe, says NTA is leveraging on technology to expand its program contents for a healthy competition.
And NTA is not averse to collaboration and partnership with other media organizations, that we have been doing over the years, so that in terms of content sharing, because as it is today, no single organization can provide all the content, because the broadcast industry is evolving.
He said the choice of China to partner with the largest TV in Africa is a wise choice that will lead to a mutually beneficial relationship. In Abuja, Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
More stories from Lagos with Adeola Komeakiri. Hello, Adeola.
Thank you, Lami. As the federal government continues to work towards achieving food sufficiency in the country, key players believe equipping farmers with requisite knowledge to safeguard their agricultural produce and go beyond consumption farming level to export level is important. This was the submission of stakeholders at a sensitization workshop by the Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service in Lagos. Diana Ajali reports.
The way the products have been handled in the outlet position, the texture of Nigerian vegetables abroad will damage from Nigeria.
Despite its contribution to the nation's economy, Nigeria's agricultural sector still faces challenges, such as effects of climate change, insecurity, among others, thereby affecting productivity.
And I believe
Comptroller General, Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service, Vincent Isiegwe, said is aimed at empowering key players with the nitty-gritty of large-scale farming, processes, packaging, and international compliance standards. He added that The agency is also strengthening collaboration with the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria to ensure seamless operations that would support the growth and development of Nigeria's economy.
Once you touch agriculture, you touch virtually every sector of the economy. And that's why Mr. President says that, look, we should face agriculture squarely.
Better ways of establishing agro-farming in Nigeria, organic chemical applications, utilization of technology pest control mechanism were some of the issues discussed at the forum.
We have geographical setup, we have the human resources, we have intelligent set of people in this country. So why can we not go forward?
Is to achieve food security because it's helping them to kill the pest and disease inside the crops.
It will also give an impetus for those that are adulterating this food.
Why agricultural development remains one of the most powerful tools of ending extreme poverty and boosting prosperity. Private sector partnership investment, human capital development, stakeholders say is key to achieving the projected trajectory of food security in Nigeria. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
And that's it from Lagos. The news will continue after this time out.
Thank you for staying. Stakeholders on the platform of the governing All Progressives Congress, APC, have appealed to Nigerians to actively participate in the acts of governance, particularly at the subnational and grassroots levels of the country. This was during a media briefing on major developments that cut across energy, infrastructure, social investments and tax, where the present administration was giving a pass mark for taking tough decisions that will eventually put the economy on the path of progress.
To the state governments, it is the responsibility of Nigerians to follow it up from there, to understand that this is no longer a problem of a federal government. Problem of Nigerians is that they don't ask questions on what happened to what is being given to them.
Some stakeholders appreciate the local government autonomy, which will attract more democratic dividends, and appealed for the recognition of consideration of all APC support groups led by its Director General, Professor Muhammad Kailani. The Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs rose from the 10th meeting of the expanded General Purpose Committee advising the federal and state governments, the National Assembly and the political class to immediately ease tension by urgently building trust through extensive consultation, matured and genuine dialogue on the tax reform bills before the National Assembly. A communique issued by the Council commended the federal government, traditional and religious leaders for the remarkable decrease in cases of communal clashes across the country and urges measures be taken to ease the harsh economic climate. The meeting also highlighted the relationship between mining and the out-of-school children and urged Muslims to assist the government in curbing the activities of illegal miners in different parts of the country, resolved to educate the Muslim Ummah on the need to standardize the informal sector of the Nigerian economy such that the huge contributions of the informal sector to the economy would be appreciated and acknowledged in planning. The NSCIA also urged governments across the 3 tiers of government to prioritize food security and education in order to safeguard the immediate and ultimate well-being of all citizens. You're watching Network News. We go for another break. For saying, health officials in Congo have raised alarm over an unidentified flu-like illness that has killed at least 71 people in the southern province. And Sierra Leone begins Ebola vaccination a decade after deadly outbreak. Kolo Mohammed brings us details on these and other stories on Global Updates.
Deaths from the mysterious flu-like illness were reported between November 10th and 25th in the Panzi Health Zone. They include 27 patients who died in hospitals and 44 fatalities in the community. The Congolese Ministry of Health emphasized that it is still too early to determine the cause or mode of transmission of the disease. Officials say it is like a respiratory type of illness. Among the hospital fatalities, 10 are said to be linked to lack of blood transfusions, while 17 succumbed to respiratory complications. In other news, Authorities in Sierra Leone have commenced a nationwide single-dose Ebola vaccine. It is the first of such campaigns in West Africa, where a deadly outbreak 10 years ago resulted in the death of thousands. The 2024 Ebola outbreak is said to be the deadliest in history, primarily in West Africa. China cautions the United States from meddling in Taiwan-related affairs after the self-ruled island's president Lau Ching-te said he was confident of deeper cooperation when President-elect Donald Trump takes office next month. To be taken seriously, China has announced sanctions on U.S. companies and individuals for selling arms to Taiwan. Kolo Muhammad, NTA News.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu shares in the pain of the loss with the Muslim Ummah over the passing of the highly revered Islamic scholar Sheikh Muhyiddin Ajani Bello. President Tinubu affirms that the cerebral scholar lived to serve the Almighty Allah and humanity with his unusual insight into the glorious Quran, depth of wisdom, and the gift of interpretation, which provided peace, comfort, and guidance for many. President Tinubu acknowledges the Islamic clerics' unwavering position on charity, peace, and civil order, frequently counseling leaders on the importance of trust, honesty, and fairness as cornerstones for good governance. He prays Almighty Allah to receive the soul of the departed and comfort his family. And that does it on Network News for tonight. We thank you for being a part of it, and this is wishing you a good weekend. I'm Lami Ali.